morning, and thank you very much for joining us. I am Yori Folani alongside Asukwo James.
Good morning, Nigeria.
Indeed, and well, in Lagos, southwest of the country of Nigeria, where we're broadcasting from, the whole traffic situation is something of a big deal. We're still trying to sort that out. Not that it should need any sorting out, because we've known that it was on for a while. The authorities had put out information, but I don't know how well people actually consumed the information and got an understanding of what was happening. So yesterday was the first day of its closure on a working day. On a working day. And so now today is the second day. And we were saying yesterday that it's likely to be better because we're better understanding that kind of a thing. Indeed, we'll come to that. But first of all, let's take, we had Sharon yesterday. Sharon was there yesterday. Today, she has a report, and we'll also catch up with one other of our reporters later on. But first of all, let's take Sharon's report on the traffic situation because of the partial close down of the Third Mainland Bridge.
Recently, the federal government announced the partial closure of the Third Mainland Bridge. While monitoring the impacts of the closure, it could be observed that a hike in the cost of transportation was already on, as only few buses plied the roads. Recently, the federal government announced the partial closure of the Third Mainland Bridge. For many hours, commuters struggled to get transport to their various locations on the island.
Been here since 7 minutes after 6. Standing here, there is no bus. I noticed that the bridge is not closed. Vehicles are moving, but there is no bus to pick passengers, and I don't know what's the problem.
I've been standing here for, let's say, 30 minutes now, and the crowd is much, and there's no bus. And because of the COVID now, we can't actually sit four like we usually do. So it's now 2 or 3 in the bus. So it's going to be a lot. It's going to tell a lot on everybody.
Though the bridge experienced moving traffic, some residents are not aware of the time the bridge will open and close. Thus, there was more traffic congestion on alternative routes.
Most people don't know that they are renovating the Third Mainland Bridge, So today, when we came out, being Monday, we see a lot of crowds and no vehicles because of probably the diversion, So these are the things that a government that cares for its citizens needs to have put in place.
As you can see, it's free movement from mainland towards island. And this is going to continue like that in the next 3 months from 12 midnight to 12 noon. Once it is 12 noon, we shift. We'll be able to now capture the traffic coming in from island, going to the mainland. And that is going to be the peak period for that day.
It will be recalled that repairs will be done on 15 expansion joints on both sides, while the ring road's worn-out bearings will be changed.
Too bad. I have been in this traffic for more than an hour now, just from Bonibana to this place, more than an hour. And normally it's not up to highest 10 minutes drive. Look at, and I'm going to Oshodi. It's very bad. So talking of Third Mainland, the two sides is not good. Let's at least open one distance. And I know people of Third Mainland, that's why everything is jam-packed. It's not good.
For many of the transporters and road users that might have to face heavy flow of traffic every day, they expect that the federal government and state government will collaborate and ensure that other means of transportation like the waterways and the railway system will be opened up to ensure less vehicular movements. Sharon Ijason, TVC News, Lagos.
Okay, that was a report from Sharon. Sorry, I couldn't get her live. In fact, as I was saying, we had Sharon live yesterday, but today we'll probably have someone else. So that was a picture. Couldn't have been speaking to a picture, and hope that the picture would have answered. Oh, Lord have mercy. So where are we now? So where are we now is the situation. We were, conjecturing that it would get better. Because, there was this whole unnecessary confusion really about dividing the day up from 12 noon to 12 midnight and then from 12 midnight to 12 noon. That was confusing a bit. But the best that I have really is that while we're waiting to get our reporter at location, the best that I have is that if you're coming into Lagos from the mainland, you can pretty much carry on the way you've always been, you know, coming from Ikeja or wherever it is, just hit the Third Mainland Bridge and go right up until 12 noon. And that was the situation from 12 midnight, right up until 12 noon today. And at 12 noon, it's going to be closed down. So you can't access Lagos anymore coming from the mainland the way you usually do. You have to take some sort of a diversionary route. Now, when people working in Lagos have finished and want to come back home, if it's on the mainland, then they can also do that because now we've switched to the 12 noon to 12 midnight schedule for people coming back. But I was speaking with, you know, transportation expert Kade Okwefa, you know, who is now the chairman of the Presidential Task Force on the whole Apapa situation. And he was saying to that, but for those going to Adekunle or so, then
you can divert.
You can divert.
And then go straight to Eko. If you are going to the island, you divert at Adekunle, then you link to Apapa, Ebutemeta Apapa.
There you go.
Then straight to Eko Bridge. Then
there you go. So Lagos is going to catch on pretty quick because
no, I think if one is even going to the island, it's the best route for anybody is the Third Mainland Bridge. You know.
Yeah.
That is
work hours.
At the times that have been slated.
The normal traffic rush hour.
Yes, you can
Nothing
move.
has changed.
Yes, so
effectively.
Because if you say you want to take the alternative route, you might likely be stuck because everybody wants to, you know, pass that particular route. So the best thing is if you are going to if you are going to the island, just make sure that you don't get caught up by the time that the bridge is going to be, you know, shut for the repair works, you know, to be carried out.
Yes.
But if you are coming back, you can also take, because yesterday we noticed that the traffic was flowing. There was free flow of traffic in the evening.
Exactly.
You know, so people were really shocked to see that.
People,
and so you know,
have the right information.
Exactly.
And so we're
you know,
keeping away. Yesterday we spoke about how the bus stops were jam-packed simply because commercial transporters wouldn't pick up passengers.
Yes, because they were afraid, because they don't have the right information.
Which is unfortunate, because I think Lagos did put out the right information. But you see, putting it out is one thing. Disseminating it is another.
And making people understand what it is.
What it is. So people just heard that the bridge is going to be
short. You know, because Third Mainland Bridge will be short, and they don't know that it's going to be a partial closure, whereby a particular portion will be open for people to move, and at what time.
People were taking the word partial out of the whole sentence.
Exactly.
So it was just closure, and yet it wasn't. It's a partial closure, and I think by now most people who use that route would have understood that it's a partial closure. You're coming into Lagos in the morning. When I say coming into Lagos, somebody said yesterday, but everywhere is Lagos, southwest of the country. Well, yes, Lagos State, but residents tend to think. Well, some resident think of when you've crossed the bridge and then you're in Lagos Island. Then they say that is Lagos. But actually, I don't think the authorities will agree. It's all Lagos. But so we say the mainland, coming in from the mainland. Carry on pretty much as before, right up until 12 noon.
Exactly.
And that situation had obtained from 12 midnight. You know, from 12 midnight right up until 12 noon, you can carry on like that.
Exactly.
And then on the way homeward bound, then you can also use it the way you were using it. But by that time, the other side that you use in the morning, nobody can be passing that.
I think where the diversion comes
right now, maybe you can get some phones into so that
the diversion
people can tell us what
is around the Adekunle, where we have the Adekunle Bridge interchange. That is where the diversion is. So if in the evening you are going to the island, you divert from the Adekunle interchange. And same if you are coming back, if you are coming from the island to the mainland, you divert too.
Lagos Traffic Radio can be very useful. Yes, it's not a Lagos State asset, so to speak. It's a federal asset, but it is within Lagos, and Lagos, the transport is Lagos, and it's going to affect Lagos transportation most. So you know, I imagine that the Lagos traffic radio, they have a station in
Exactly. So
to traffic.
Yeah,
so they're going to have to
doing
be
the
working
yeoman's
overtime.
job
Yeah.
and doing making sure that people, you know, the drive time is reduced and people get home on time. And I also want to give it to the traffic officials, last month, the road safety corps, you know, they've been trying and making sure that people who are supposed to move and people don't just stop and pick passengers.
I think we can talk to Bimba Baby, you know.
Okay, Bimbo. Bimbo, good morning. I think we're having a little bit of technical challenge there. So like I was saying, the traffic officials have been... Hello, Bimbo. We are trying to sort out...
I can't hear.
While we are trying to sort out that little miscommunication. So like I was saying, the traffic officials have been doing a wonderful job. But I think the police, this is the time the police have to also increase their personnel around the Third Mainland Bridge, especially in the evenings, because so that all these traffic robbers will not take advantage of it.
Social media is awash with such accounts.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just that unfortunately, well, a social media account and a story is what it is. Just that, a social media story. It might not have the power of a properly done story, because unfortunately people make things up. But for all that it is worth, social media did have accounts of how they were robbed, you know, because they were sitting ducks in some cases, and then people were robbing them. It's one of those things. So the police, I don't think it takes us to tell the police about this. They are experienced. They
especially
will
the
know.
RRS, you know, because they've been moving around, you know.
But they need to know that in spite of whatever efforts they have already put in place, there still are situations, and you probably can't police every inch of the bridge and all of that. But still, the police authorities need to know that victims are still complaining. I remember getting one such expression and trying to reach somebody in authority. The first thing they wanted to know is, what's the source? That is the source of the report. What's the source? And that's understandable, you know.
Because
the
they
source
want
is
to say social media.
And exactly, what's the source? So some people actually put stuff out and don't actually put their name on the stuff. And that can be a problem. So the authorities, whoever is going to be the authority that you're going to be contacting, and if they want to relate with the police, don't be surprised if the police want to know the source of your story. They're looking for a credible source.
Exactly.
They can't go out on a wild goose chase. Even though this is painful, because people are actually experiencing distress. And we have this situation. So I don't know how we're going to sort that out, but for the police to know that, well done, men and women in uniform, but we still are getting some complaints. Maybe you can try Bimbo again.
Hello, Bimbo. Bimbo, can you hear me?
Please, I need you to bring up the audio.
It's one of those days. It's one of those days. We will get there. So, you know, as we were saying, it's unfortunate.
Yes, exactly. So that is where I know the RRS
the
commander,
rapid response squad of the Lagos State Police Command.
Because I know they are the ones that usually man and the Third Mainland Bridge. So it means that they need to increase personnel, especially in the evening, you know, because that is when...
Yes, especially in the evening,
you know. So that is when these guys perpetrate their evil acts, you know. So if they can increase their personnel, people will be able to, their motorists will be safe, you know. They want to even drive, because I noticed that even at night, the Third Mainland Bridge is always dark. You know, it's not well lit.
Okay.
So that is another major challenge.
Well, maybe it's an on and off situation, because sometimes it is.
You know,
sometimes it is well lit. But in recent experience, you must have seen.
Yes.
I don't have any business on it, thank God. You know. So there are a few of us that don't have any business on that bridge, because unless it's an assignment. you know.
It's because most times that I drive through the Third Mainland is, you know, I have to make do with my own vehicle light, you know, the flood light and all. So I think at this period,
such a pity for you Lekki residents.
You
but,
know, so at this
carry on.
at this period, it is going to be a pity for the mainland residents because they are the ones coming to the mainland in the evening.
To coming home, you know, as it were.
So it means the RRS has to increase their numbers, see how they can, you know, make.
Assuming that they have those numbers to win. This is, you see, don't forget where we are. Assuming that they have those numbers, don't forget that everybody is just cutting their cloth according to their size, so to speak.
And this is a special project.
Okay, well, while we're trying to get Bimba Agbebi, these are live pictures. This looks like.
Okay, this is the diversion point.
This is the diversion point if you were coming out of the mainland. I mean, the island, I beg your pardon. So that's the diversion point if you were to go down, wanting to go via Adekunle into any other part of Lagos, right?
Yes.
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 And the traffic is free.
It's free, you know.
It's free flowing. So, well, live pictures. This is the Third Mainland Bridge right now.
So motorists or Lagosians should not be afraid to go to the island. They can still make use of the Third Mainland Bridge if they want to. So they shouldn't say the Third Mainland is blocked. It's not. And bus drivers, especially the downfall bus drivers, should not also say they should not increase the transport fare so that people can go to work. There's no need for it. It's free. People can move.
Let me, you know, when we come on programs like this, the authorities, they oftentimes are listening and to every word. And in this connection, Kayode Okwefa, as I said, the chair of the presidential task force, he took exception to my saying yesterday that the trucks around that whole Costain area, he said, what trucks? There aren't no trucks there. That they've sorted that out because that impinges on his function. And so he's saying that, hey, maybe that was a careless jive, Yuri, because there are not any trucks that are further complicating the situation there. Maybe one was carrying a residual memory, was what he kindly suggested. But that, no, there are no trucks there that are lousing up the traffic situation.
That is the trucks from Apapa down to Sule, because I know most times we usually have trucks lined up.
So, you know, as he was a bit peeved because, hey, this is what we've been doing. This is the work we've been doing, and we've cleared all those, and they're not there. So it's sort of unfortunate that it is still being reported from memory, the last memory that, the last collective memory that we had, but that isn't the situation. So by and large, all other things being equal, they're saying that this can be managed. This can be managed such as we are seeing.
No, I think we have to give it to the people that have that are saddled with the responsibility of trying to ensure that there is no traffic. Because the greatest fear was that for 6 months, there will be mad traffic in
we
Lagos.
want traffic, but we don't want the lockdown.
Yeah, the lock, you know, because that was the fear that in 6 months, how are we going to survive in Lagos? Because there will be traffic, it's mad traffic, let me use that word, you know. And but the few days, the first day and this second day, you can see the movement of vehicles on that on the bridge.
You know,
so it means that they
call in but I think the lines must be tangled up because we're also using the lines for various other things.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we would have wanted to hear what the personal experiences are, but at least we saw the live pictures. Try again.
Okay, Bimbo, can you hear me now? Hello, Bimbo.
You're sounding far away.
Hello, Bimbo, can you hear me?
Working. It's hard speaking your voice.
Okay. Well, that must be the best spot that she could find. There's some machine, and it's drowning out, you know, her hearing. But we can hear her because of her mic. The kind of mic that she's using, we can hear, but she needs her ears and she can't hear.
But okay, Bimbo, can you just, if you can hear me, just go ahead. Tell us what we need to know. Is traffic flowing? People complaining, if you can hear me.
Okay, we're still having problems, and that's because of the spot that Bimbo happens to be on. Maybe, I don't know why she is there, but she is there, and we could hear in the background a noise that wasn't too disturbing to us, but she must be hearing it real time without any attenuation by the gizmos and the technology. So she's hearing it full blast and can't hear what you are saying. Such a pity, but I don't know. Maybe she had some noise cancelling earbuds or something like that. But no. But we can sort of make it. Maybe we'll let go of the line for now with Bimbo so that we can get other communication of people who have actually been on there. Yeah, so we'll sort of see if we can take a few calls so that we get to sort of a feel
of how the movement was yesterday.
Yes,
for
it's a pity about not being able to pick up Bimbo, but so please call in if you've used it and you feel there's anything sort of useful that you could add. If you're a Lagos motorist that have used it, this is not the time for someone to call from Lokoja. But I mean, we value your calls, Lokoja. We do, but you get what we mean. We're trying to get some sort of a vibe for how this is all working. The pictures look good. The pictures look good that, hey, this is working. In fact, I dare say the pictures look better than regular days, and you've sort of explained that too many people are at the moment still using alternative routes. Because, okay, those are live pictures. Those are live pictures still. Coming out of, what does this look like? It looks like...
It looks like Adekunle.
Yes, yes.
Like
the diversion, right?
Yes.
That is at that point that you sort of divert and be able to enter into a altimeter and then going on this relay. David is on the Third Mainland Bridge. Good morning, David. Now that line is out. Well, sometimes on the bridge, on bridges, you do get situations. I don't know whether it's about the winds and the water. I just don't know what it is. But even with normal communication, sometimes on the bridge, it drops out and it drops back in again. David tried to reach us there from on the bridge itself, and then we actually heard it drop out. So this
and you can see the traffic official, the road safety official is there trying to, pass vehicles.
Let's try Felix, also on the Third Mainland. Felix, good morning. No, do we have Felix? We also lost Felix. But we can see that people are trying to call in.
I hope people are not watching.
But that was the next thing I was going to ask. How do you people know what we're talking about? If you're on the Third Mainland, well, maybe a passenger. Maybe one guy is driving, and then there are passengers that have their phones on them and are actually watching the live stream of it, or you are watching TVC via an app. But please stay safe, guys. I'm sure you don't need us to tell you that nobody driving can also be catching the program at the same time.
Exactly.
So it must be that they have passengers who are streaming, and so they know what's going on. So yet it would have, if he's on the if he's on the bridge, and we are seeing pictures of the bridge, and it's free flowing. Those were live pictures a few seconds ago. It seems all good. Okay, and we said that please don't call if you're not in Lagos and you're not using it. So now be careful what you wish for. Now everybody has said, okay, let's
so let it be for Lagos.
For you people, for these few seconds. Oh yeah, let's allow you people. Now we tried. But okay. Maybe people can also, people who experienced it yesterday. Besides, let's go on a commercial break. We'll be right back. Stay with us, please. Stay away from Lagos and its traffic situation, which is not too bad, actually. Let's move on to the other Hot topic if you want, the NDDC thing, but when a thing is hot for so long, then you begin to be able to bear the heat, and it's not doesn't seem so hot anymore. But I don't know if that really applies to the NDDC, if it is as hot as ever. Remember, it was quite hot when
it's still hot.
It still is hot, Okay, you still...
Because money is involved.
Money is involved. People can take the story from when the House of Representatives, quite angry with allegations that had been made by the minister, had asked for facts and names. And we got to the level where there were a few denials, and then the minister actually sent in a communication. There were names, and so if we now still leapfrog a bit, the newspapers are reporting this morning that senators, for example, are not in agreement with the names, right?
Yeah, exactly. It was on Sunday. You know, definitely the minister didn't mention names from his own. The letter is sent to the House.
And said that he was misquoted as to this whole matter about 60% of the contracts went to the assembly people.
The National Youth Council of Nigeria, I think he represented somebody who claimed to be the president, or who is the president. He said he was the president, Solomon Adodo, had a press conference on Sunday, and he said he got a hold of the document listing senators who got contracts from the NDDC.
Okay.
Some 67, some 75, some 8, and most of them we are all from the Niger Delta.
Okay.
Okay. Now, so today, those senators are all denying these allegations. And from what the NYCN youth leader actually said was that particular document was attached to what Akpabio sent. But Akpabio's letter that was read didn't even indicate that there was another document, an attachment.
Yes.
So we don't know who is lying.
Well,
or is it that?
I don't know about lying. But I don't know about lying. Maybe omitting to tell the entire truth.
Okay. Let's say somebody. Maybe there was a particular.
People talk about selective.
No, let's use maybe a particular paragraph was missing in his letter. Where he said, okay, we have attached ABC onto this.
Enough of our prattle. We actually have a guest who might know a bit more about it, because he's a former president of your Youth Council worldwide, and we're talking about our guest on Skype this morning. Thank you very much for joining us, Mr. Eric Omare.
Thank you so much. Good morning for having me.
Thank you. My name is Yori Folani. I'm alongside Asukwa James in studio. Give us your impression about the whole brouhaha, the names that reportedly have been passed to the National Assembly, and the fact that at least the newspapers today are reporting that the some senators are disagreeing with the statements that has come from the minister. Give us your impression of the entire situation.
Well, my view is that what is happening with respect to the NDDC group and forensic audits is applying a wrong solution to a problem. We have identified the problem, which is that the NDDC is not properly managed by those that it is entrusted to manage. And therefore, there is need to take stock, which the presidency called forensic audit. But some of us had advocated when the forensic audit started that, look, you cannot have people who are interested in the outcome of the forensic audit or who would need to be audited to supervise the audit. And this is in two phases. Number one, you have the forensic audit managed or superintended by the Minister of Niger Delta with an interim management committee in one place. Then on the other hand, you have approved by the National Assembly. All these characters, from the members of the Interim Management Committee to the Minister of Niger Delta and some members of the National Assembly, are interested parties in the NDDC saga that is going on. So what ought to be done is an independent proof outside these persons that I've just mentioned, and that, in our view, ought to be, Mr. President, supervising an independent team of auditors to prove the NDDC. So in summary, the wrong solution is being adopted to solve the NDDC problem, and that's why we're having these allegations and counter-allegations from left, right, and center.
Yeah, it's an interesting perspective because it's sort of a bit aligned with this is some other commentary I've heard where there is advice that, you know what, just like you said, some have said, go ahead and dissolve the NDDC. And it's too, there's far too much corruption. It's gone deep into its marrow, and there's very little hope for being able to retrieve it, that is, retrieve the essence of the organization, and hand over to the presidency, as it were. A bit like the Petroleum Ministry, where Mr. President is in charge of that. There is a Minister of State, but Mr. President is effectively the Petroleum Minister. Is that the kind of thing you are saying, that, look, let Mr. President take full charge of the NDDC situation? And or first of all, that whole idea about whether or not to dissolve the NDDC, does that particular kite fly with you?
No, not the idea of NDDC as an organization, as a legal creation. There's no problem with it. The problem we have is with management. And with respect to the management of the NDDC, issues are in two phases. Number one, from the year 2000 to the year 2019, the federal government of Nigeria has decided to carry out a forensic audit of that era to know what actually happened. How was the money spent? Was it judicially spent? And if it wasn't spent, who are those people that are responsible for the diversion of the resources of the Niger Delta? We are saying that that audit can only be carried out by a process that is independent of the actors in all these processes. And these actors are, number one, political leaders in the Niger Delta, former governors, former office holders in the NDDC, and even so in some cases, traditional rulers. So what it simply means is that you cannot use the same character in this forensic audit. That's why we said, Mr. President, take charge of the process. Whatever forensic audit that is being done should be supervised directly under Mr. President. That is one phase. Then moving forward, we feel that the solution is to obey the NDDC Act. The NDDC Act expects that there should be a substantive board at every point in time. So while you are auditing the past, there should be a substantive board to manage the affairs of the NDDC. And that management should be under the supervision of Mr. President, that is the Secretary of the Office of the Secretary.
Okay, I got to rush off on a break, but please stay with us because we'll come. Okay, welcome back, and we have Mr. Eric Omare, former President, Ijaw Youth Council Worldwide, with us via Skype. Thank you indeed for staying with us. My understanding of what you've shared with us so far is that you don't put too much trust on the forensic audit that is supposed to be going on right now because of the conflict of interest thing that you spoke about. Is that accurate?
No, that is not accurate. I believe that the idea of forensic audit is fantastic, but the problem is the management. You cannot give a forensic audit to people who are interested parties to manage. That is my point of disagreement. It should be managed by Mr. President.
Okay.
Because
but the challenge perhaps that is leading to all of this is that not too many people actually care for a forensic audit in the Niger Delta. Because truth be told, God knows where that forensic audit will lead to. And so therefore there seems to be panic that if we let a forensic audit without any shackles, free reign, the heaven will fall. That seems to be the concept.
That doesn't represent the view of the ordinary people of the Niger Delta region. The ordinary people of the Niger Delta region want a forensic audit. The ordinary people of the Niger Delta region want an NDDC that is working for the development of the region. It is a few elites who have been...
Carry on, please. Unless I think, yeah, the internet froze for a while. But as he was saying, that concept of the heaven will fall, it doesn't concern the generality of the ordinary Niger Delta, no. This will be, if there is any such concept, which is speculative in its own right, it will be among the elite that he's talking about, which I imagine that he's talking about when he says that the interests, people who have interest in a matter cannot adjudicate on that whole matter, is what he's saying. So, and he has said right up until now that he would trust the presidency better to be in charge of this whole setup, not the arrangement we have. And it was clear to say that I don't have anything against an audit, a forensic audit for that matter, but we all know what a forensic audit is. If you want, it's not that it's so defined properly, but it's like a caustic audit. It'll just cut right through everything. And he's just told us that that is precisely what the Nigerian Deltans want, but I don't know that it's not the generality of the Niger Deltans that are represented actually in the NDDC.
Yeah, exactly. I hope we'll be able to get him back, because I know that Niger Deltans really want a forensic audit.
Sure.
But there is also the issue about the people who have they really carried out that audit? And when have they started? Have they started? Because that's another thing. Because if you say, okay, they've started the audit, don't forget, the former managing director of the NDDC actually said there was no forensic audit that has been carried out.
Oh, the lady?
Yes, Joy Nuye. So I hope I will be able to get him.
He's back, right? He's hearing you. He can actually hear.
Eric.
We've lost him again.
Okay, because that's another thing. If we, just like he said, just like every other person is saying, it is high time the presidency took over the running of the Niger Delta, the NDDC, sorry. Because we have a Ministry of Niger Delta Affairs. Let's take it back to where it was, which is the office of the Secretary to the Secretary General of the Federation.
The Secretary of the Federation. Okay, let's take it from Mazi. Mazi Naruchuku, good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir. Good morning. You see, the issue of Niger Delta issue, I would suggest to Mr. President, sir, just make use of forensic people outside Nigeria. That's number one. Number two, if they are going for that forensic investigation, they should go to the spot where the paper they have there, where the contracts are. And all those people that they showed us the name yesterday on television, whether they are honorable or not honorable or distinguished or no distinguished, they should appear in person, not by proxy or by their lawyer. So that they don't go and start on the plate that this is what they gave them. And all the money they gave all of them, kick-off grants, or whether anything you may call it, they should produce it. I'm saying this because, let me give you an example. John Lisa, I wish you give me time. In Aruchuku, Amove, there is what they call, they said they give us water by NDDC. What did we see there? They gave one side of the great water, and the other side the water. Where our own house is, that's like I said, there is no water. Now, you go to Futo Owerri, just write it down. Whosoever is listening, let them read it down. Go down, investigate. You know, Owerri, Federal University of Technology Owerri, they said they build hostel, agreed. They build the hostel, but they just have, the hostel is supposed to accommodate only 2 students in the room. Today, how many students we have? 8 in a room.
Okay.
Which is not healthy for the children.
Okay. So that's why we need this forensic audit, Mazi. That's why you're saying this.
They collect 20,000, but they're collecting 45,000.
So this forensic audit is crucial, Mazi. I've got to interrupt you. I beg your pardon, sir. But thank you very much for contributing. This seems to be, from your point of view, proof of why we indispensably need this forensic audit. And by the way, our guest is back. Mr. Eric Omari is back.
Okay, Mr. Eric. Mr. Omari. Can you hear me? Okay, so what do you say about the issue about the forensic auditors, that are currently, if at all they are working, are currently being carrying out the auditing of the NDDC, because there are some people who think that they don't even exist at all.
Well, I'm happy that you said whether they are even existing, and that is the fear that some of us have. Number one, let me make the point very clear that majority of the Niger Delta people, including my humble self, is in support of the forensic audit. We strongly believe that the forensic audit is important for us to take stock of how much we have gotten in the past and how was the money used. However, the problem we have is that the people that are in charge of managing the forensic audit are people who are interested. They were part and parcel of the rot that the forensic auditors are supposed to teach.
Okay, this is the point you've been making from the beginning.
To supervise.
Exactly.
So I was saying that the majority of Niger Delta people are in support of the forensic audit, including myself. However, our problem is that we are not comfortable with the people who are in charge of managing the forensic audit or supervising the forensic audit. We do not need an interim management committee headed by Professor Ponde with Karo Jibo and others to supervise the forensic audit.
Okay,
we do not need the Minister of Niger Delta, Senator Fabio, to supervise the forensic audit, because these are Niger Delta people who have been part and parcel of the rot in the NDDC.
Okay, so are you saying, Mr. Omari, Mr. Omari, are you saying now that
we believe that, Mr. President,
are you saying now should the presidency just take over the NDDC or take it back to where it was, which is the office of the secretary to the government of the federation?
Two things. Number one, it should be sent back to the office. The NDDC should be supervised by the office of the secretary to government of the federation. That's number one. Two, the forensic audit should be directly supervised by Mr. President and not any other person.
Okay, let's take a call from Mr. George in Lagos. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Uncle Yeri.
Thank you for calling in. Good morning.
Good morning to Asuko as well.
Good morning.
Uncle Yeri, I told you the other day, this National Assembly probe is a case of dog eat dog. We didn't expect anything different. The truth of the matter still remains that the forensic audit ought to be carried out by a firm that is trusted, that cannot be influenced by these corporates. Those people that are supervising these auditors at the moment are corporates in what is being probed. So what do you expect to come out of it? The best thing is, if I were the president, I would call Price Waterhouse or a firm that these people do not have access to come and carry out the forensic audit and allow those people who are guilty to be known and then punished. It's not enough to just probe. When you get to know that this person is responsible for one error there or not, you punish him so that those other ones that may come later will take a cue and learn lessons that if they misbehave, this is what could happen to them.
Indeed. Thank you very much, Mr. George, because just by the time you bring forensic auditors in, you are on an investigation. And you don't investigate for nothing. You investigate because, there is auditing, there's also forensic auditing. So by the time you go into the forensic aspect of auditing, that's using all sorts of tools, criminal investigative tools, going probably, I'm guessing now, not being an auditor myself, going into areas that you wouldn't ordinarily have gone into because of the very definition of its name. It's a forensic audit. And as Mr. George is saying, that must have been why they brought in forensic auditors in the first place, because they want this information, not just for the sake of having it and filing it away. They're going to do something with it.
Exactly, but he also said something about credible auditors.
Yeah, and this is the problem. I also have heard, I think, you remember in all the discussions going on, there have been doubts as to whether the firms are actually all professional auditing firms, never mind being able to forensic auditing. And as Mr. George is saying, and as people might imagine, why don't you bring in totally outside auditors? Is it not possible to have auditors from beyond our shores?
Yes, we can.
But even that even doesn't make me comfortable. Surely there must be Nigerians that can do a forensic audit without being compromised. There must be. Okay, you're giving me corner eye. Okay, we have another caller on the line, I believe. Good morning.
Hello.
Hello. Good morning. Go ahead, please.
Okay, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Jonathan calling from Suleja.
Oh, Mr. Jonathan in Suleja. Good morning, sir. Thank you for calling in.
First-time caller in this program.
Oh, we're delighted to have you. Azuku and I.
So my suggestion is that, Nigeria is that we take everything for granted. That's the issue of our leader and every citizen. Now, this issue of corruption has been happening in Niger Delta all this while. And I've not been doing anything, particularly to stop this corruption. I want Mr. President to prove his integrity this particular time. He should go up, he should point outside people from the National Assembly, from those people that are involved in the matter. Let him appoint external bodies that will take charge of this probe so that we know who has been embezzling all the money from Niger Delta since this extension of this creation of the ministry.
Yeah.
We want to see the clear investigation.
Sure.
And whoever that is involved, let the person face the justice, let the person face the wrath of law. They should not hide anybody, be it the minister, be it anybody that is involved in this corruption. Let Nigeria, let Mr. President, sit them and make a statement.
Sure.
That will know that is fighting corruption.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. You know, it's unfortunate that we're talking like this because by definition, that's what a forensic audit means to do. It's not a tea party. What Mr. Jonathan is appealing that they should let be is exactly where we started from, arguably. From the very beginning is that we need to get to the bottom of this. All the things that Mr. Jonathan said is what the presidency or whoever was the authority that established it must have meant and articulated. We just have a few minutes more. It's good to hear Nigerians say this and sometimes even say the obvious because it also reflects on our situation in this country, that we have to be saying the obvious. In other words, I don't know if the corruption level has become such that even when we have a clear-cut, professional, high-level, arguably, forensic audit on ground, we're still saying that it should do what forensic audits do. Well, maybe we'll give our guest the last word, Mr.
Omari.
Yeah, Mr. Omari, former President, Ijo Youth Council Worldwide. Last word to you. Are you optimistic that we can still get good out of this whole exercise? Now that delay is too much, so it means he's not hearing us. So there is no delay.
No, it's saying something.
Well, I think that the only way the forensic audit can achieve its set purpose is for it to be supervised by Mr. President and not by the Interim Management Committee or the Minister of Niger Delta Affairs.
Okay.
And most importantly, I do not also believe that the proof by the National Assembly is sufficient. We need an independent proof outside the present management of the NDDC and the National Assembly, and that can only be done by independent auditors that are directly supervised by Mr. President.
I want to thank you very much then, Mr. Eric Omari, former President, Ijo Youth Council Worldwide. An indictment there for all the investigative authorities that until this thing is put squarely on the desk of Mr. President, he will not be satisfied that justice and truth is being attended to.
Exactly.
So that again is a humongous commentary on the state of affairs. But we won't give up. We can't give up hope, right? We've got to leave the program now, but we do so without giving hope, without giving up hope.
Exactly. So we need to give the Niger Deltans hope.
And the generality of the ordinary Niger Delta shouldn't lose hope, right?
Exactly.
It can still be done. So that's our program today. Thank you very much for being with us. And Asukwa James and I, as always, say, please try our best to be safe in these COVID-19 times. We'll see you tomorrow, God willing.